Vietnam just celebrated its 50th reunification day, which marks the day that the North and the South of Vietnam reunited and began the last 50 years of peace and prosperity in Vietnam. Which makes this a great time to discuss what it's like living in Vietnam right now and why you might want to consider moving here, whether you're coming to Vietnam to teach English or otherwise. During the Reunification Day holiday, there was lots of positivity and festivities. There was a parade with different groups representing the different parts of the government, all the way from the army to education, veterans wearing their uniforms and medals. Many people got up as early as 3 a.m. to go watch the parade, and there was lots of smiling, cheering, and general good vibes. There was also an air show with jets doing stunts and helicopters and firing of cannons, and of course Vietnamese flags everywhere. People wearing the traditional ao dai dresses and men's outfits. And then in the evening, a fireworks show which lit up the skyline with all the skyscrapers in front of District 1, which looked really impressive. The whole day showed the Vietnamese people's national pride, as well as how far things have come in the last 50 years. Personally, that's something I really like about Vietnam. The forward-thinking, enterprising, optimistic nature of the Vietnamese people, looking to build a better future with smiles on their faces all the while, which makes those of us non-Vietnamese living here feel very welcomed. And as long as you remain respectful, Vietnamese people have a lot of warmth and friendliness. With this focus on the future, there's been a lot of rapid development in Vietnam, which means that living here gives you the comforts of modern society as well as the vibrance of Southeast Asia. On the one hand, you can go to modern malls, and on the other hand, you can go to a local Vietnamese restaurant and get an amazing meal for a couple of dollars. The reasonable cost of living here allows you to eat out pretty much as you want, go out and enjoy yourself, and live a really comfortable lifestyle. When I ask the people that we help start teaching English in Vietnam why they decide to do it, there's a variety of reasons, including travel, wanting to do something meaningful, just wanting to change their lives to a certain degree. But a big one is often the cost of living crisis in their home country, where normal folks, not the ultra wealthy, are just struggling to live really comfortable lives and enjoy themselves, where everything just seems to cost so much. I noticed a trend on YouTube recently where travel YouTubers were putting the cheapest country in the world in their titles for videos in Vietnam. And first of all, that's definitely not true. Vietnam is a lot more developed than a lot of countries in the world. And secondly, it's kind of disrespectful to be calling it the cheapest country when a lot of Vietnamese people work really hard and are just getting by. What I am saying is that if you come here as an English teacher, you can live a really comfortable and balanced lifestyle where you'll have enough to enjoy the best things that Vietnam has to offer, like the food, travel, as well as nightlife and things to do in Vietnam. And I think that's what attracts a lot of people who want to come start teaching English in Vietnam. And we have a lot of interviews on this channel of people we've helped start teaching English in Vietnam who say similar things to this and who express that Vietnam gives you the chance to live a really balanced and enjoyable lifestyle here. Food-wise, Vietnam has some of the most amazing cuisine, and there's far more to try here than just pho and banh mi, because there are hundreds of different dishes here that are just incredible. So I think you really just have to come to Vietnam to experience all the dishes here. Whether you're just traveling or coming to live here, Vietnamese food is just so good. And travel-wise, there's so many opportunities to travel within Vietnam as well as to nearby countries. Just this holiday, I went down to the coast to Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh is just a little bit up the coast from Vung Tau, which is the closest beachside city. Some really nice beaches there. You can stay in a hotel on the beach. I just went down for 2 nights, saw some amazing sunsets, ate some delicious seafood. And that's absolutely something that you can do when you've got time off while teaching in Vietnam. You can go explore the country as well as nearby countries. I'm always seeing our alumni posting about their recent travels on Instagram all over the country, posting pictures and videos of their travels around Vietnam as well as around Southeast Asia. Vietnam also has a very strong emphasis on education, which could be part of the reason why Vietnam has developed so quickly in the last 50 years. And this is really ingrained in the culture. If you go and visit some of the historical sites in Vietnam, like the Temple of Literature in Vietnam, you can see a long history of this focus on education, going back 100 years or even more. And that strong emphasis on education has maintained up until now, where parents want their children to get the best possible education And with a population of 100 million people, 10 million people in Ho Chi Minh City, 10 in Hanoi, there's really this strong emphasis on education. Vietnam invests a lot in education. The parents of children invest a lot in their children to get the best possible education. So there's a lot of employment opportunities in the education sector, and that's partially what makes it possible for us to help over 100 people start teaching English in Vietnam every year. So I think it's a combination of these factors that make many people really love and enjoy living and teaching English in Vietnam. And no one's claiming everything is perfect, because that's just not the case anywhere in the world. But after the reunification day and seeing a lot of the things that reminded me about why I really like Vietnam, and a lot of people do, I thought I'd share some of these reasons with you so that you could get a sense of what myself and many people living in Vietnam think about living here. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more videos about teaching English and life in Vietnam, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.